The stars were quiet. The war had moved to another sector. Dead ships floated like bones near the edge of the dark moon. No one came here anymore, no one, except Commander Raiden. Raiden sat alone in his small ship, a patrol cruiser called Hawk's Wing. He had just finished a repair job on a nearby space station. Tired, hungry, and ready to rest, he leaned back and sipped cold coffee from a metal cup. That's when it happened. Beep, 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 a weak signal blinked on his screen. It was soft, broken, and old, unknown distress call. Origin, Moonbase Delta 7, the computer spoke. Raiden frowned. Delta 7 was an abandoned moonbase, deep in a battle zone where aliens and humans once fought brutally. It was a dead place now. No one should be there. He opened the map. The signal repeated again, only 3 pulses, then silence. Most people would have ignored it. Maybe it was a broken machine or a trap left by pirates. But Raiden wasn't most people. He stared at the screen. Something about that signal felt sad. He turned to the ship's control panel. "Let's check it out," he said quietly. As his ship approached the dark side of the moon, the sky turned gray and lonely. The broken base looked like a skeleton, half buried in dust. The landing pad was cracked, wires hanging like spider webs. Raiden stepped out in his armor suit. The wind was thin and dry. "Anyone alive?" he asked into the comm, knowing no one would answer. He walked carefully through the base's broken doors. Lights flickered. Something smelled burned. Suddenly his scanner beeped. One life form detected. Raiden's heart skipped a beat. Down a deep hallway behind a locked metal door, he found her. A girl. Not human. She was small, maybe 12 or 13 in human years. Her skin was pale blue, glowing softly under the weak lights. Her long silver hair was tangled and dusty. She was chained to the wall with metal cuffs. Her eyes were closed. She wasn't moving. Raiden knelt beside her. "She's alive." "Barely," he whispered. He tried to remove the chains, but they were alien tech, sealed with DNA locks. He looked at her arm. It had bruises, old ones. She had been here for days. "Maybe weeks. Who left you here?" he whispered. Suddenly her eyes opened, bright, glowing silver. She looked straight at him. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just stared, like she was waiting for him. Raiden opened his tool bag, trying to cut the chains. Sparks flew. "I'm getting you out of here," he said. But then the door slammed shut behind him. Loud metal locks clicked. Lights went red. "Trap," he muttered. "I knew it." His radio buzzed. Static. No signal. He checked the girl. She was awake now, but too weak to move. Raiden knew he had 2 options. Leave her and escape through the emergency hatch. Stay and find a way to break her free. He looked into her eyes again. She looked scared, but not of him. She was scared he would leave. Raiden made his choice. "I'm not going anywhere." He ran to the wall panel. His fingers flew across the screen, bypassing alien code. The power was failing. The base had 4 minutes before complete shutdown. He tried everything, but the chains wouldn't break. Then the girl reached out with her hand. She touched a glowing crystal on the chain and whispered something in her alien tongue. Click. One of the locks opened. Raiden's eyes widened. "You can unlock them?" She nodded slowly, but she didn't have the strength to finish. Raiden lifted her in his arms. "Okay, I'll carry you." "You show me how." Smoke filled the hallway as explosions shook the floor. The base was collapsing. Raiden ran. Every door, every step, every second was a fight. He reached the exit, but the door was jammed. He had one last energy cell left, his emergency power core. If he used it to blast the door, he couldn't call for help later. He would be alone in space with a half-dead alien girl. He looked at her again. She wasn't just a girl. She was someone forgotten, thrown away, left to die, and now she was his responsibility. He placed the core, hit the button, and blew open the door. Smoke and dust flew everywhere as Raiden ran into the night sky. Back on his ship, he placed her on the medical bed. She looked at him this time with tears in her glowing eyes. He smiled. "Out of breath. You're safe now." But then, his ship's warning system beeped again. "Incoming. Transmission. Return the girl or die." The warning on Raiden's ship flashed red again. Incoming message. "Return the girl. This is your last chance, human." Raiden stared at the screen. There was no sender name, no ship ID. But the voice in the message? It was cold, sharp, dangerous. He looked over at the alien girl. She was lying still on the medical bed, breathing slowly. Her wrists still showed red marks from the chains. Her silver hair was tangled, her skin pale and cold. But even in her weak state, she looked peaceful, like she knew he would not give her back. Raiden sat in the pilot seat and scanned the space around him. No ships yet, but they were close. Come on, think, he whispered to himself. The girl couldn't stay here. His ship, Hawk's Wing, was built for short missions, not for hiding royal alien children. His fuel was low, and the backup energy cell had been used to blast open the door back at the base. He needed a safe place. And fast, he pulled up the star map. One place flashed in his mind: Drifter's Hollow. It was an old mining colony on a cold asteroid. No law, no records, no questions asked. A perfect place to hide. But it was 4 hours away, and his fuel would only last 2. Still, Raiden set the course. If I don't try, he said, looking at the girl, you won't survive. He activated stealth mode and flew low near the moon's dark surface. Avoiding any scanners, as the ship moved, the girl stirred. Her eyes blinked open, slow and tired. You're safe, Raiden said gently. She tried to speak, but only a soft breath came out. He handed her a small translator chip. She looked at it confused. It helps you talk. Human language, he explained. She pressed it to her neck. The chip flashed. I remember you, she whispered. Raiden raised an eyebrow. You've seen me before? She closed her eyes, trying to remember. In dream, or memory, you came. You held my hand. Raiden's heart skipped a beat. That wasn't me, he said. I just found you. But the girl shook her head. Still you. Same heart. Suddenly the ship jolted. Bam! A small blast hit the left side. Raiden checked the radar. 2 enemy drones were chasing them. They found us, he shouted. He grabbed the controls, flying low between giant space rocks, trying to shake them off. One drone fired again, missing by inches. Raiden activated a decoy flare. One drone turned and exploded into the rock wall. The other followed close. Then, with perfect timing, Raiden flipped the ship upside down and slid through a narrow crack in the asteroid field. The second drone tried to follow and smashed into stone. Boom, Raiden laughed. Still got it, but the celebration didn't last. A loud alert rang across the ship. Fuel level 6%. He looked at the map. Still 90 minutes to Drifter's Hollow, but he had maybe 20 minutes of flight left. He sighed. We're not going to make it. Then a soft voice said, I can help. He turned. The girl sat up weakly, holding the glowing chain lock from her wrist. This is Power Core. Ancient tech. Still alive, she said. Raiden stared. That small piece of metal could power a ship? He quickly connected it to the emergency fuel port. The system blinked. 20% power restored. You're a miracle, he whispered. As they neared Drifter's Hollow, he opened a secret comm channel to an old friend, a man named Zeke, a smuggler who owed Raiden a favor. Zeke, it's me. I need a safe place. I've got a special passenger. Zeke's voice came through. Raiden, you in trouble again? Big time. Landing pad 4, come quick, and don't bring the heat. Raiden landed the ship under a rusty hangar hidden beneath the ice. Zeke, a rough man with a metal arm and kind eyes, met him. You brought a kid? Zeke asked, surprised. She's not just a kid. She's something important. Someone is hunting her. Zeke looked at the girl, then back at Raiden. Then you better hide her well. This place won't stay quiet long. Raiden nodded, but before they could move her, the ship's screen flashed again. New transmission. No words. Just a symbol. Raiden looked closely. The symbol was burned into his memory now. The same one the girl drew with her finger on the ship wall. A royal seal. A forgotten empire. Zeke saw it too. Oh no, he whispered. Do you even know who you've rescued? Raiden looked at the girl. She was awake now, fully alert. Her eyes glowing softly. I'm starting to find out, he said. Inside the hidden room beneath Drifter's Hollow, silence ruled. Raiden sat beside the alien girl, watching her sleep. Her breathing was calm now. Her color had returned. The soft blue glow of her skin reflected on the walls like a quiet night sky. But the silence didn't feel peaceful. It felt like a pause before a storm. Zeke, the smuggler who helped them hide, stood at the door. She's not just any alien, is she? He asked, voice low. Raiden didn't answer. Instead, he looked at the wall where the girl had drawn a strange shape using her finger earlier. A glowing symbol that pulsed like a heartbeat. A spiral with 3 stars. Zeke noticed it too. He stepped back. That's royal. Ancient. I haven't seen that mark since the old war. Raiden nodded slowly. She's someone they want erased. Later the girl woke up. Raiden smiled at her. Feeling better? She nodded. Her eyes scanned the room, then landed on her drawing. She stared at it a long time. Raiden pulled out a piece of thin glass, a message screen, and gave it to her.
Can you show me who you are?
She touched the screen gently. Her fingers moved slowly as if remembering something from long ago. A map appeared. Then a large palace floating in the clouds. Then her, but not as she looked now. In the image she wore a glowing dress and a golden circlet on her head. You're a princess? Raiden asked. She hesitated. Then slowly nodded. Her voice, still weak, said, Once. Long ago. Before the fall. She tried to speak more, but the words wouldn't come. Raiden could tell. Her memory was broken like puzzle pieces scattered inside her mind. Some parts were clear. Some parts were shadows, but what she did remember mattered. She pointed at a star system on the map, then pointed to herself, then drew the spiral again. Raiden leaned closer. You're from there? That place still exists? She shook her head. She drew a small explosion. Then a big X over the star. It was gone, destroyed. Raiden felt his chest tighten. He knew what this meant. Her world had been wiped out. She was one of the last of her kind, and someone still wanted to finish the job. Why you? He asked. Why are they still hunting you? She looked down, then slowly, she lifted the sleeve of her robe. Underneath her skin, hidden in her shoulder, was a glowing symbol, a living code. Raiden gasped. That's not just royal, Zeke said from the corner. That's a genetic key, a living one. Raiden now understood. She wasn't just a princess. She was a key to something powerful, maybe a weapon, or a secret, or a throne, and whoever controlled her, controlled whatever was left of the old empire. That night, Raiden gave her a name. Until you remember your real name, he said gently. Can I call you Nova? She looked at him. Her lips curved into the tiniest smile. She nodded, but peace never lasts. As Raiden prepared the ship for possible escape, a quiet alarm buzzed. Not loud, but enough to chill the blood. Zeke ran in. Raiden, they found us. I don't know how, but they're here. Raiden's face hardened. How many? Just one ship, small, fast, watching from above. Not attacking yet. They're waiting, Raiden said. They want us to panic. Nova stood beside him now, holding his sleeve. She looked scared, but not weak. She opened her hand and showed something small. A tiny crystal chip, no bigger than a button. Raiden stared at it. What's that? She looked up and whispered, Memory. Raiden placed the chip into the ship's data reader. Suddenly, images flashed on the screen. A grand throne room, alien voices arguing, a young Nova being pulled away by guards, a woman shouting, eyes glowing, her voice filled with power. Nova pointed at the woman. Mother, she whispered. Zeke whispered under his breath. That's Queen Valora. She disappeared 15 years ago. Raiden stepped back. Your mother's still alive? Nova nodded once, then pointed at the screen. The last image showed her mother reaching toward Nova, then darkness. Static. Nova looked at Raiden, her eyes wet. She tried to protect me. Raiden sat in silence. Everything was bigger now. He wasn't just hiding a lost girl. He was standing between a royal bloodline and an enemy that had already destroyed one world and was now watching from above. He looked at Nova. I won't let them take you, he said. Not while I'm breathing. Outside the asteroid, the enemy scout ship floated silently. Inside, a tall figure stared at the base. He pressed a button and spoke in an alien tongue. We found the key. Prepare the mother. The human will not give her up. Not easily. Raiden pushed the ship faster than it was built to fly. After Nova's memory chip revealed her mother was still alive and powerful, Raiden knew they couldn't stay hidden anymore. The message from the enemy ship above wasn't just a threat. It was a warning. They were running out of time. Inside the ship, Nova sat quietly beside the window, watching stars slip by. Raiden noticed she was holding something tightly in her hand. He leaned over. What's that? He asked gently. She slowly opened her palm. It was a small ring, silver with a strange blue gem. It didn't look like normal jewelry. It pulsed just once when Raiden looked closer. "It belonged to my mother," she said softly. Raiden gave a nod. "Hold on to it. You may need it more than I do." Their destination was risky. Dead Moon Delta. It was an old mining moon abandoned for years. The only ones who went there now were outlaws, smugglers, and those running from something. Raiden fit right in. He had a contact there, Rixo, a tech smuggler who owed him a favor. If anyone could hide Nova from scanners or help upgrade the ship's stealth systems, it was Rixo. The landing was rough. Delta's gravity was weak and its air was thin. As they stepped out, a thick red fog covered the ground. The sky was always twilight here. No day, no night. Just a slow-burning red haze. Raiden kept Nova close. She wore a hood and dark glasses to hide her glowing eyes. Her steps were small but steady. Rixo's base was under an old mining tower. When they reached the door, it opened slowly with a loud groan. A short, wide alien stepped out, covered in grease and wires. "Raiden," Rixo said with a crooked smile. "Still dragging Trouble behind you?" Raiden gave a small grin. "This time Trouble's got a name, Nova." Rixo looked at her. His smile dropped. "You need to leave, now." Raiden stepped in front of Nova. "Why?" Rixo didn't answer. He just pulled them both inside and locked the heavy metal door. They already came. "This morning," Rixo said. "A ship, silent, no trade, no words. They just scanned everything, then left," Nova whispered. "They're hunting me." Rixo looked at her carefully, then at the glowing ring in her hand. His eyes went wide. "Oh, stars. She's not just a target. She's the key." Raiden nodded. "Can you help us or not?" Rixo grunted. "I can hide you, maybe. But not for long." They stayed inside the base for a few hours while Rixo worked on the ship. Nova sat in a corner, tracing patterns in the dust with her finger, symbols from her past. Spirals, stars, the royal mark. Raiden watched her, wondering how a child could carry so much pain and still stay so calm. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a necklace. Not expensive, just a small steel plate. "My sister gave this to me before she died," he said quietly, handing it to her. "For strength." Nova looked at it, then slowly placed it beside the ring from her mother. "Now we're both carrying something," she said. Just then, the ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lights flickered. An explosion roared outside. Rixo ran in. "They're here!" Not just scouts, war drones. Raiden grabbed Nova. Back to the ship now. Outside, the red fog turned into chaos. Bright lasers cut through the air. Mining towers collapsed. Drones flew fast and low, scanning and shooting. Raiden fired back with his plasma gun, covering Nova as Rixo helped open the hangar door. One drone locked onto them. Raiden shouted, "Get down!" He shot once, missed. The drone fired direct hit to Raiden's side. He fell to the ground. Groaning, Nova screamed. Everything stopped for a moment. Then, her eyes began to glow brighter than ever before. She stood up, her tiny hands shaking, but she didn't run. She raised the ring in her hand. It flashed like a small sun. The drone froze. Then, fell from the sky, dead. Raiden blinked. "What did you just do?" Nova rushed to his side, tears falling. "You saved me. Now I save you." Rixo pulled them both into the ship. Engines roared. The hangar collapsed behind them as the ship blasted upward. Inside, Raiden was hurt, badly. Nova placed both the ring and the steel necklace into his hand. "You're not alone now," she whispered. From high above, a dark ship watched them leave. Inside, a shadowy figure turned away from the screen. He spoke only one line. "Alert the Queen. Her daughter has awakened, and she is not weak anymore." The stars outside were quiet again. Too quiet. Raiden sat in the cockpit, his side bandaged. Nova sat near him, watching the endless darkness of space. Her silver eyes shimmered softly against the control lights. He winced as he tried to move. "You should rest," she said gently. He smiled weakly. "You sound like a doctor." "I sound like someone who cares," she replied, her voice small but steady. Raiden looked at her for a moment. She wasn't the frightened child he had rescued. She was changing, becoming something stronger, older, wiser. Like her memories were slowly waking up. Destination? the ship's AI asked. Raiden took a deep breath. We can't keep running. We need answers. He looked at Nova. You said your mother was alive. If she's real, maybe she can protect you. Nova frowned. She will come. But not gentle. What do you mean? She looked down at her hands. My mother doesn't save. She tests. 3 hours later, their radar beeped. Something enormous appeared behind them. A massive alien warship, black and gold, shaped like a blade cutting through the stars. Raiden's mouth went dry. That's not a fleet, he whispered. That's a kingdom. The AI scanned it. Unknown vessel. Energy readings extreme. Identification code. Royal Crest of House Valora. Nova stood. Her breathing changed. She's here. Without warning, a beam of light surrounded their ship. In seconds, they were pulled in like dust into a storm. The cockpit lights went white. When the light faded, Raiden found himself standing inside a giant hall, gleaming silver walls, glowing symbols, and a ceiling so high it vanished into clouds. He looked around, dazed. Nova was beside him, holding his sleeve tightly. Then the guards appeared. Tall alien soldiers in armor that hummed with energy. They didn't speak. They just watched him with cold, glowing eyes. A deep voice echoed across the chamber. Bring him forward. At the far end stood the Queen, Queen Valora. Her presence filled the room before her voice even reached it. Her gown floated like living fire. Her eyes, silver and endless, looked like Nova's but colder, sharper. Power hummed in the air around her like thunder behind glass. Raiden swallowed hard. Nova stepped forward slowly. Mother. The Queen's eyes softened only for a second. You live. You still carry the seal. Then she looked at Raiden. And the human who carries your scent? Her voice dropped. You touched her chains? Raiden hesitated. I freed her. The Queen's eyes glowed. Then you are marked. Guards moved closer, their weapons humming. Wait, Nova cried. He saved me. Many times. The Queen didn't look at her. He broke the law of the bloodline. Raiden stood tall despite the pain. If helping her is a crime, then I'll take it. For a moment, silence. Then to his shock, the Queen laughed softly. Not cruel, curious, you humans, she said. Always so loud in your courage. She stepped closer. Her aura pressed on him like invisible weight. You risked your life for a child not your own. You bled for her. You fought my enemies. Tell me, human, why? Raiden met her gaze. Because no one else would. Something flickered in her eyes. A memory. A pain. For a brief moment, the mighty Queen looked almost human, then she turned away. Take him, she ordered. Nova shouted. No! Guards surrounded Raiden, grabbing his arms. He struggled, but their strength was beyond human. The Queen spoke again, her voice calm but final. You touched royal blood. You carry her chains echo in your code. That means you are bound. Bound? Raiden asked, confused. She looked straight into his eyes. You belong to us now, human. They dragged him to a glowing circle on the floor. Symbols appeared under his feet. The air crackled. Nova ran forward, trying to reach him, but the guards held her back. Mother, stop, she cried. He's not a threat. The Queen didn't answer. She raised her hand and light surrounded Raiden. He felt something in his chest burn. Not pain, but heat, like part of him was being rewritten. Then it stopped. The Queen lowered her hand. Raiden fell to his knees, gasping. What did you do to me? Her answer was soft, almost gentle. I gave you a place in our family. You cannot run from it now. Nova rushed to him, holding his shoulders. Are you hurt? He looked at her. What just happened? She looked frightened. You're marked by royal code now. It links us. You're part of my bloodline. Raiden blinked. Part of your what? The Queen stepped closer again. From this day, she said, you are under my protection and my rule. The hall fell silent. Raiden, still weak, stood and faced her. I didn't ask for that. The Queen's lips curved faintly. No one ever does. Then she turned to her guards. Prepare the trial of belonging. If he survives, he stays. If he fails, the bond ends with his life. Nova's eyes widened. Mother, no! But the Queen only said, every family must be tested. Raiden stood alone in the middle of a glowing circle. The floor beneath him pulsed with light like a slow heartbeat. Walls of silver glass surrounded him. No doors. No escape. Above him, the Queen watched silently from a high platform. Her expression was unreadable. Nova stood beside her, crying. "Don't do this," she begged. "He's not like the others." The Queen didn't answer. She simply raised her hand and the trial began. The lights vanished. Darkness swallowed everything. Raiden blinked, confused. The air turned cold. So cold he could see his breath. Then the first vision came. He was no longer in the room. He was standing on Earth outside a burning village. Screams filled the air. People ran past him, covered in blood and dust. He turned and saw himself younger, wearing the same uniform he had worn during the War of Titans. In the vision, his past self ran into a burning house. But this time, didn't come out. The flames swallowed everything. Raiden stepped back. "This isn't real," he said, but the pain felt real. The guilt, the memory. Suddenly, the scene shifted. He was now on a battlefield. Alien bodies everywhere, smoke, fire. He heard a small voice cry, "Help me!" He turned and saw Nova, younger, chained again, just like the day he found her, but this time he didn't move. He just watched her scream, "No!" Raiden shouted, "That's not me!" The chains wrapped around her, pulled her into the ground, and she vanished. Raiden dropped to his knees, breathing hard. He touched the floor. It was ice cold. His heart pounded. He looked around. "What is this place?" he whispered. Then a voice echoed around him. "This is your trial." It was not the Queen's voice. It was something deeper, older. "You are bound by blood. But blood is not enough. You must choose," the voice said. "Choose what?" Raiden asked. "To carry her pain, or let it break you." A door appeared in the darkness. Raiden stepped through and found himself in a quiet garden. It was peaceful, warm, bright. Nova sat there, smiling. She looked safe, happy. She reached for his hand. "This can be your life," the voice said. "Stay here." No pain, no war, no memories. He stared at her. She looked perfect, too perfect. "No," he whispered. "This isn't real." He pulled back. The image of Nova melted away. The garden burned, and Raiden stood again, alone. His knees shook. His body felt heavy. He heard voices now, voices from the past. "You're not good enough. You couldn't save them. She's better off without you." Each word slammed into him like a punch. But then one small voice whispered louder than the rest. "You're not alone now." Nova's voice. Raiden opened his eyes. The room returned. The walls reappeared. The lights flickered. He stood in the center of the trial chamber, sweating, shaking but alive. The Queen stared at him from above. Her eyes narrowed. He looked up, breathing hard. "I didn't fight monsters," he said. "I fought myself." The Queen tilted her head. "And what did you learn?" Raiden looked toward Nova. She had tears on her cheeks, but her smile was wide. "I learned. I'd rather carry her pain than forget mine," he said. "That's what family means, right?" Silence filled the chamber. Then slowly the Queen rose from her seat. She walked down the steps, step by step, until she stood in front of him. Raiden didn't move. She raised her hand. He tensed, ready for another test. Instead, she placed her fingers on his forehead and whispered, "You passed." At once, the glowing ring around him faded. The room warmed. Nova ran forward and hugged him tightly. "You did it." He smiled and whispered, "Not sure what I did, but I'm glad I did it." The Queen turned away. Only one other outsider passed the trial of belonging. "That was your father, Nova." Nova's eyes widened. "You never told me." "I thought he was lost forever," the Queen said softly. She looked at Raiden again. "You are not a warrior, but you have something most of us lost long ago, a heart that chooses others before self." Raiden rubbed the back of his neck. "So, what now?" The Queen turned, her voice calm but strong. "Now you carry the mark of the royal bloodline. You are no longer a stranger," she paused. "You are our protector." Raiden blinked. "Wait, me? Protector?" Nova nodded, her eyes glowing with pride. "Yes, you're ours now." Raiden sighed. "Well, I guess I better get used to it." The stars above the royal flagship looked softer now. Raiden stood on the ship's high deck, the wind brushing through his hair, light from twin moons glowing over his face. He had passed the trial. He had earned the mark. but he still didn't feel like a hero. Inside the grand hall, the Queen's voice echoed, "Bring forth the protector." The alien guards, now bowing instead of threatening, stepped aside as Raiden walked down the golden path. His boots tapped gently on the polished floor. He wore a new coat, dark silver, marked with a shining spiral and 3 stars, the royal crest. Nova stood near the throne, dressed in soft blue robes, her silver hair brushed and braided. Her eyes glowed warmly the moment she saw him. "You made it," she whispered, smiling. Raiden smiled back. Somehow. The Queen stood before him, tall and strong. "You came here a stranger," she said. "You chose pain over comfort, loyalty over safety." She turned slowly to the crowd of advisors and soldiers. "This human risked his life for my daughter, and for that I name him Veldar, the protector of the crown." Gasps filled the room. Raiden looked confused. "What does that name mean?" Nova whispered. "In our tongue it means the one who shields with heart, not sword." Raiden's chest felt heavy with emotion. I don't know what to say." The Queen stepped closer. "Then don't speak. Just protect." She placed a glowing band on his wrist. It shimmered, then melted into his skin, forming a mark just like Nova's, a living bond. "You are family now," the Queen said. "And family is forever." Later, Raiden sat with Nova in the garden room of the royal ship. Trees grew in floating soil. Flowers moved with music. The air smelled like rain and stars. Nova picked a petal and let it float in the air. "Do you miss your home?" she asked. Raiden looked at her. "Sometimes, but home. It's not just a place." He paused, then smiled. "Sometimes it's a person." Nova's eyes sparkled. "You sound like someone from our stories." Raiden laughed. "Let me guess. The foolish human who ended up saving the universe?" She giggled. "No, the quiet one who loved loudly." A small screen blinked. It was a message from Queen Valora. "Nova, Raiden, come to the bridge. There's something you need to see." They hurried. On the bridge, the Queen pointed at the screen. It showed a hidden star system, far from any known map. In its center, a half-broken planet orbited a glowing sun. Nova gasped. "That's our true home. I thought it was gone." "It was," her mother said. "But your ring, it sent out a signal after you used it." And something answered. Raiden stepped forward. "You think someone's still alive down there?" The Queen nodded slowly. "Or something that belongs to our people. Something waiting." Raiden looked at Nova. She was no longer just a lost girl. She was a royal child, a survivor, a key to something greater. And he was no longer just a human. He was her shield, her anchor, her family. The Queen walked toward the ship's main console. "We go together, as one people, one family." She placed her hand on the control panel. "Prepare the jump to the forgotten star." As the stars bent around them and the ship leapt into hyperspace, Raiden stood beside Nova on the glass floor. "Watching light stretch into endless rivers, are you scared?" she asked. He shook his head. "Not anymore." She held out her hand. He took it, and for the first time in a long time, he felt like he belonged. Final scene. Far behind them, in a hidden corner of the galaxy, a different ship watched from the shadows. Inside it, a figure spoke quietly into a recorder. "The Queen has found her heir, and the human is now one of them." The voice paused. "Let the others know. The bloodline is alive. The protector walks beside her. A smile, and that means war may come again."